When I first visited my friends Sharon and Chuck's backyard garden 8 years ago, it was nothing compared to what it is today. We're going to take a tour and find out about the passion that drives these two backyard gardeners.
Hi, I'm Chuck.
I'm Sharon. We live in Santa Monica, California, and this is our jungle garden.
We've been here for about 29 years and have gradually increased garden production. Now that I'm retired and have more time, we really have increased the size.
And this year we have bumper crops of tomatoes, Brussels sprouts, kale, lettuce, and a lot of other things. Oh, and spaghetti squash, yes.
You got a lot of those.
By the dozens.
Yeah, so what would you contribute to your success in gardening?
We've been watching your show. Chuck is very competitive. And our daughter lives in Northern California on 10 acres of land and has an enormous garden, and he's competing.
On how much of a property?
Quarter acre, if that.
You know, whenever her garden is going downhill at the end of the season, they just open the gates to their garden because they have to have everything enclosed for the deer, and they just let the deer in to come and eat what's left over. We have to figure out what to do with our dying plants. Well, this year we didn't water. We have watering systems, but we didn't water with a hose to try to reduce the powdery mildew on the squash. Didn't really work. Possibly where we are in Santa Monica, there's just enough of the morning fog that it comes back anyway.
And what is indestructible here, the blackberries?
Oh yeah.
The blackberries and boysenberries, the apples. Used to have bigger apple trees, and unfortunately they died and got termite infected, so we had to dig those out. And this last winter we put in new colonnade apples.
Grafted with 4 kinds of apples.
The trellis I had from before, so I'm hoping to be able to add up and go higher. We have 4 apple varieties.
On one tree?
On one tree, and 2 pear varieties on the other tree.
And it came that way?
It came that way.
I see. You didn't do your grafting?
No.
Have you done any grafting?
No.
Okay.
I took a class years ago, and I'm hoping to graft at least onto the pear because the rootstock is growing up. So once it gets higher, I can graft laterally and add to it.
Mm-hmm. How did this all develop over time?
After I retired 2 years ago, we put in all these raised beds and planted them.
Keyhole gardening.
Keyhole.
Areas in the bed that you put all your
Food scraps.
And you're technically supposed to just have to water there, and so that's supposed to help to compost the food scrap and waste, but it's also supposed to keep fertilizing. We haven't intentionally put worms in there. They go in, but it's supposed to decompost scrap or your green leaves or brown leaves, brown stuff, and then it leaches into the surrounding raised bed. This one here is probably 12 by 12. 8 by 12.
We had 2 kits, different kits that we melded together to make a bigger bed.
The one way back there is called an ascending bed. So it's again keyhole, but the beds go higher, so that it's made to go against a wall so that it gets more sun. The raised ones get more sun. So we have kind of our more shaded plants there. The Swiss chard and beets.
This year we got an earlier start on the garden. We started in February. Most of the time we work in March. And when we were still both working, we would come out on a few weekends in May and hope that the garden would last for the summer. This year it has really paid off, and we have an abundance.
We've been keeping a log this year after learning it from my daughter about when we planted and what we planted, when we've harvested and things like that.
When our daughter was growing up, she was never seen in our backyard. We were out here on the weekends, and she was off with friends. And somehow she became mountain woman, gardener exceptional. Canning, drying, growing, everything. They have an amazing garden.
Wow.
In the summer we grow tomatoes, lettuce. We've started some asparagus. This year we tried Brussels sprouts, leeks. We usually have zucchini. This year we have spaghetti squash, and we have a huge herb garden. The kale is doing very well. The onions got choked out by the Brussels sprouts. We're going to try them in the ascending beds this year so that they have their own space, because this year the Brussels sprouts got so big that we couldn't find the neatly laid out and labeled white onion, red onion, yellow onion, and garlic that we put in. We put in a citronella plant this year, hoping that it'll keep the mosquitoes away, and the plant looks great. It's going to take over that whole section.
What do you love most about gardening, Chuck?
Spending the time outside, harvesting, you're enjoying the fruits of your labor. You know, fresh harvested fruits and vegetables taste so much better than store-bought. I know what's in the ground, so I know that they're organic and healthy.
You obviously enjoy working together.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Well, your career was you working together also, right?
Absolutely. It's very similar. We were in dentistry before we retired, so I've gotten to know his thoughts very well and can pass him the right tools at the right time.
I was the dentist.
I was the dental hygienist, and we worked together for
34 years? 35 years?
I think 36 years. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and we're still here and still married. I'm very proud of my succulent garden. I pick up little disconnected pieces along the sidewalks, and I've bought some, but they've done very well in our backyard, and they keep multiplying.
We try to make use of every space that we can.
Former patients, who was a wonderful gardener, told us about colonnade apple trees, so we ordered some, and they come tiny little shriveled up things, but they stay short and narrow, so we're able to put 4 trees very close together. They don't get big, but they have lots of apples that are quite delicious.
So
Yeah,
one
they're-
little tree could produce a number of apples.
Oh, absolutely.
10 or 15 apples.
Wow. Do you save seeds?
I have. That's what happened with the spaghetti squash. We saved seeds, we planted one plant, and then we got volunteers coming up in the keyholes, and so I planted those, not knowing exactly what they were because they didn't quite look like spaghetti squash leaves. And then I put the extras in pots and I gave them away, and now the whole city is inundated with spaghetti squash. Oh well.
What about tomatoes? Are you buying starts?
You know, a friend gave me plants from her garden from last year. She had spilled a pack of heirloom tomato seeds by accident, and it just went wild. So I'm not even sure what varieties these are, but they've all produced very well.
And I see you're not worrying about too much about the mildew because we're already in August. You're just going to let all this play out.
Yes, I just keep cutting back and
Oh,
trimming.
you are cutting back.
Yes, trimming back the squash plants and trimming back the tomato plants.
Yeah, I kind of like that little thing you've got on your
Yes,
your
my
head
little
there.
halo here.
I think you should just wear that on your ear. It's very appropriate.
It's even here in my garden.
Carmen Miranda.
Yes, with the assorted fruit on the head.
So they built this enclosure outside of their French door to keep the cats in and to give them access outside. Look how cool this is. The cats get to play on all of this, and on this side she has little window boxes for plants. I love this. This is just regular nylon screen, right?
No, that's special pet screen.
Pet screen.
It's heavier duty.
Ah.
Cats can claw on it, climb on it, but it's not supposed to go into it.
Cats can climb on it. Oops. I love that.
He gets great ideas, grandiose ideas, and I grudgingly go along with them.
Why grudgingly?
It's a lot of work. And he wants everything perfect.
What all do you put in here?
The extra scraps that we don't put in the keyhole.
The what?
But what's nice is that the mice can't get in this because it's a sealed system.
No mice can get in there. That's great.
And there's another one somewhere in the back.
Let's see that avocado. Oh, I see it.
We're very proud of it.
Aw. Proud parent.
That's right.
Are you just going to take a hose and wash
Yes.
all this sawdust off?
We do on a regular basis.
What is it called?
Chop saw or a miter saw.
Wow. I love the stand because now you don't have to bend over.
Uh-huh.
Well, we added this brick walkway here, but at this point we can't even walk. You can't predict how big these plants are going to get.
Some do really well and some don't.
We had a basil down here, which has gotten kind of choked out.
Looks like a tomato in there.
There's a tomato. That's our keyhole.
Oh,
We
that's
made
the
the
keyhole.
keyholes in this garden too, because we built this one.
So you can just make a keyhole out of
Oh, absolutely.
anything.
Yes.
Oh, you don't have to buy a fancy kit.
No. This guy doesn't do anything to scare anybody off except me.
A little late for carrots.
Well, I probably should harvest them.
Why don't you pull one out and see?
Yeah, and then you can eat it. Oh. Perfect snacking size.
Wow. I will have you wash that one off.
There you go.
Wow. That's tasty.
We have pineapple sage, dill, parsley, oregano, tarragon, and something that I put in with a label and I can't find the label and I don't remember what it is, but it's big and beautiful.
Let's go see. What is this thing right here in front of us? Is that blueberries?
Blueberry, and there's blueberries over there and there's blueberries in the back near the garage.
That's what I thought. This looks like, oh yeah, that's the sage.
Yeah, right, it's flowered.
I had one, I grew a sage that was called a melon sage and it had the same kind of flower. Where is it?
This is the dill. And then I don't know what this is, but it's all over the place.
That's mint.
I don't think so, because Chuck would not allow mint, because he knows it grows like crazy. We put mint up front next to the
It doesn't
strawberries
smell
and
like
it's
mint. I
gone.
don't know what that is.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a label over there, but I can't find it.
You'll find it in winter.
Right. And then this is our oregano.
Oh yeah, it's all blooming. I had one that bloomed. It was just beautiful. It bloomed for a long time.
And the spaghetti squash has entered, and there's a squash over in the bed.
I love the way squash just is so, takes over, stretches out. And then, are you going to collect your dill seeds?
I'm not sure how to do that, but if you...
Oh, it's so
let me know.
easy. You just take a handful and pull them off, and they're there.
Oh,
That's it.
Okay.
It's so simple. Love it. Big question. How do you keep all of the drip irrigation working? Because it's all tied up. If one thing goes out, it can mess the whole thing up.
Well, every so often we do have a leak.
And you find it and
And we
take
find
care of it.
and fix it. And he has it all on a timer, and it's set to automatically water. And so far it seems to be working pretty well. We have not been out here with a hose than for the pots that aren't hooked up to it.
Wow. Well, that is awesome, Sharon. Thank you so much for the tour.
You are welcome.
I hope people are inspired by all that you guys do, because there's so much that you can do in your spare time, and it's a great thing to do together.
Oh yeah, we've had a real good time with this.
Say that again.
At least the mask covers it up. What was I supposed to say?
You said, can I edit out the sweat?
Right, can you edit out the sweat on my face?
No, I can't. But that's real.
It is. Gardening is hard work.
Yeah,
You really have to pick the time of day and be ready for it.
depending on where you live, you know.
Yeah. And it's good to wear long sleeves when you're out here, but sometimes it's just too hot.
That's right.
So you come in with all sorts of little things on your arms.
Any parting thoughts for somebody that's thinking about doing this?
Start small. Make friends with the neighborhood and anybody else you can find so you can share your bounty.
I'm just too curious here. Oh my gosh, the whole thing came out. I love it. These are shallots. These are beautiful. Did you know you had this?
No.
These are shallots.
You're right.
Beautiful. There you go.
Oh boy, more to work on.
I'll take one.
Go for it.
I'll make something with tomatoes and shallot tonight. Let me see what you got in here. Woo! That looks so good. Thank you so much.
Now we're enjoying it. It needs a lot of work, but we're enjoying it.
Thanks so much for watching this channel, liking my videos, and especially sharing them. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. I think this one might be even better. You're drifting.
Sorry.
If you enjoyed this video, please watch these. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And I'll see you in the next video.